It's all here.
A no-hitter, grand slam.
Have all the fun you want. Every moment, every game.
Make sure you guys tune in.
Catch the White Sox only on NBC Sports Chicago.
Hey everybody, it's Chuck Garfien. Welcome to the White Sox Talk Podcast. Coming to you as always by Wintrust. Okay, a really cool podcast today. A conversation with White Sox rookie Gavin Sheets and his dad, Larry Sheets, who played 8 seasons in the majors. Now, if you're wondering what kind of player Gavin can be in the majors, and in many respects already is, you're going to find out here on the podcast. He's going to explain why Tony La Russa told him his best game so far was one where Gavin didn't get any hits, and why Jose Abreu told Gavin after that same game, you can hit in front of me anytime. And when Gavin didn't have a minor league season last year because of the pandemic, who worked with him on his hitting? None other than Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. It's all this and more with Gavin Sheets and Larry Sheets on the White Sox Talk Podcast.
Sports bettors, are you ready? When you bet with PointsBet, you get faster bets, faster withdrawals, and faster rewards at your fingertips. Download the app now to experience this premium sportsbook for yourself and sign up with code NBCPOD100 to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So, are you ready? Terms and conditions apply. Void where prohibited. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
At Wintrust, we know true fans show their team pride every chance they get. With White Sox checking, you'll score a Sox debit card. Plus, you'll get a special offer when you open online today at wintrust.com/SoxTalk. $100 required to open. Member FDIC.
White Sox! White Sox! Go, go, White Sox!
That ball hit deep, way back. Deep to left field.
Holy cow! Carlton Press has put the White Sox ahead.
Jimenez leaves the ballpark. You can't put it on the board. Yes.
We got a chance to do something real special.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. It's time for the White Sox Talk Podcast.
All right, Larry Sheets and Gavin Sheets are with me. One of the rare father-son combos in baseball history, and one that has recently been added to this special list, with Gavin getting called up to the major leagues. Gavin, welcome to Chicago, and guys, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be on. Great to be here.
Yeah, well, Gavin, you were born after your dad's career. So when did you realize, boy, my dad was something special back in the day?
I think when I got to go either to Fan Fest with him with the Orioles, or he would do some days where he'd go to the field and hit fly balls to different vendors and stuff at the field. And, you know, getting out there and seeing just the excitement that people had to meet him and, you know, just get signatures. That kind of grew my love for the game. And it also just, you know, kind of made me feel like that's what I wanted to do later in my life was to have an impact like that. And, you know, obviously just seeing the way the community rallied around him was pretty cool.
In 1987, Larry, that was your best season. You batted .316 with 31 homers, 94 RBIs with the Orioles. Man, you had some big numbers against some big-time pitchers. Dave Stewart, Jack Morris, Roger Clemens. What was the secret to getting to Nolan Ryan? You batted .467 with 2 home runs against Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting one, right? You look at everybody else's stats; they're like batting .179 or something. You know, I have no idea. I attribute that I swung and it happened to hit my bat, and a couple of them went out of the ballpark. But that's something that I'll always remember because he was special.
Well, Gavin, your manager is Tony La Russa. Tony said recently that when he was managing the A's and maybe even with the White Sox, they were trying to acquire you, Larry. Were you aware of this?
I was not. I wish they would have acquired me after the Orioles let me go, but I would have fit in well with Goldman.
Oh, yes, really? How so?
Just swing hard. And no, they had they were pretty special back in the, I mean, I guess they won the World Series in '87. But that's interesting to know.
Swing hard. Is that something you, in essence, have tried to teach your son? Because you are a very accomplished high school baseball coach right now outside Baltimore, and Gavin was one of your players.
Yeah, no, we worked, strikeouts it really wasn't a part of my game back in those days. It wasn't special, right? It wasn't something that you wanted to do and wanted to have that number by your name. And I think that's something that I've always, talked to Gavin about, was controlling our swing and hitting the ball at all different parts of, hitting all the fields and putting the ball in play. And so I think that was probably more suited for my game as well.
Gavin, you feel old school the way that your approach is at the plate compared to a lot of your colleagues right now?
I do. I've kind of felt that way my whole journey through the minor leagues. Guys it's always been a power thing since I've been coming up. But at the end of the day, I knew that if I continued to hit, the power was going to come. I knew that, if I could drive the ball to all fields and take care of just the hit tool first, that, the homers were going to come. I was never worried about that. I never wanted to be a high strikeout guy. And thankfully the manager we have right now, that plan fits in perfectly for him. So I think it's been a great fit so far.
It's funny because I do the pre and post game shows with Ozzie Guillen and Frank Thomas, and they admire your swing. Ozzie likes how you keep your head, how you don't move your head. You keep it kind of steady looking at the baseball. And Frank brings up that it reminds him of Walt Horiniak, who is someone I think Larry knows about, maybe hitting coach from back in the day. Does that speak to you, Larry, about what Gavin's doing?
I like the fact that, I've watched a lot of his videos, especially, being up. And the head on the ball has been, pretty noticeable, right? And staying through the ball. And those are all things I think that Walt worked on, but we've worked really hard on keeping two hands on the bat all the way through the zone too.
It's a little different, but here's what's funny. So Gavin, your first, it might've been your first road trip. Yeah, it was last week in Detroit. Tim Anderson's on second base twice, doubled. You're up next. You got Jose Abreu on deck. Both times, ground ball to the second baseman, advancing TA to third. Abreu drove him in. Ozzie Guillen loved this. Now, I'm sure you would have loved to hit a home run, but that didn't happen. But it was a very productive at bat. So what was your approach at the plate both times? Were you thinking, okay, at the least, I'm getting TA to third?
Absolutely. Especially against Schoolboy. I knew that matchup was a lot better for Abreu than it was for me. I knew my role there, and, I knew at least the first two strikes were mine in terms of, getting ahead. I think I pulled a home run just foul in one of the at-bats. And, I was obviously aggressive to the pull side, but as soon as I got to two strikes, it was, do anything I could do to get that guy over. And I knew Jose would do the rest. And, Jose hit me and when he got the second RBI, and he said, "You can hit in front of me anytime." So I appreciated that. And, just for Tony to come up to me after the game, and he thought it was my best game yet. And, obviously I've had some pretty good games so far, but, to go for 3 with a walk and get the job done, 3 out of the 4 times. And your manager to come up and say that was probably your best game yet. That was pretty special. So that was a cool game. Obviously it didn't show up in the stat sheet, but just to have the baseball minds around you like that, just to understand the game and appreciate the small things like that. That's what helps the team win.
I love the small things. Small things are big, right, Larry?
Absolutely. Brought a smile to my face. I know that.
Did you always want to be a baseball player like your dad? Was this instilled early? How did this all come about?
It was for an early age. I love baseball. I love baseball. I love being around, obviously growing up, going to Camden Yards all the time. Just to see the excitement around the people, meeting some of the guys that were playing at the time. It was always from an early age. I wanted to play baseball. I wanted to do that for a living. I wanted to do it as long as I could do it. And luckily it's worked out.
right. So Larry, how is Gavin a better player than you at your peak? How is he better?
Oh, why? I hate to give him all these, he is, the 3 years, obviously the 4 years he played for me were the best that he'll ever have, but the 3 years that he spent at Wake, developing, having the opportunity to, play against, the best players at the time, and so many teams now, the guys that he played against, I see him in the big leagues, but, to play in the super regionals, he was so much more ready for, his first night in the big leagues than I ever thought about. The developmental aspect of it, the strength aspect of it, it's a different game now, and he's done a wonderful job with it. And now it's his job to continue to grow and get better. And Willie Stargell said it's ability to get you there. It's mentality that keeps you there. So, and he studies the game, and it's been a great journey for him. And for me, I'm not going to take that. Yeah, for me as well.
Yeah. I want to follow up on that, but first I want to follow up with what you said to Gavin, because how is it feeling? It's a big stage. It's different. Lights are, harder, so to speak. The spotlight is on you. How does it feel right now?
It feels great. I thought, when I always thought about my debut, I always thought about, man, what's it going to be like? How nervous am I going to be? But honestly, I think the 2 days that I came up and I didn't play, but I got to be around the guys, as frustrated as I was at the time, I thought it was, looking back at it now, it was an awesome experience to kind of get that first taste without having to, have the moment of playing. And so when I came back, I felt comfortable as soon as I came into the clubhouse. And walking on that field, I knew what to expect from the fans from Chicago. Obviously the rowdy, the 100% was fantastic. But I just felt like I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable in the box, felt comfortable in the field. If you told me that I was going to make my debut in right field when I first got signed in 2017, I would have said you're crazy. But no, that was it. Just felt comfortable. It felt like I belonged, and that was the biggest thing for me. That kind of gave me a peace of mind.
Larry, what's your dog's name? Because he's on the podcast too now.
I know. Deacon is.
Deacon. Oh, what a great name, Deacon. Wake Forest. It's funny you say that about feeling comfortable or more comfortable after you came up and you didn't play, because I brought that up with Jake Berger. It was right after you came back to AAA, and I just theorized to Jake, I go, might this be better for Gavin because you went up, you didn't play, which you wanted to play, right, of course, but in the long run, when you return, it wouldn't be so new and so, I don't know if intimidating is the right word, but you'd feel more comfortable, and that turned out to be the case, right? Sure,
absolutely. And the guys here have made it extremely easy to play. I mean, this clubhouse is phenomenal. These guys they have fun with it. They keep it light. They let you, they don't make you feel uncomfortable. They make you feel right in. And, testament to those guys, and, explains why they're in first place with all the injuries they've had this year, and to continue to do what they're doing and bring in guys that are able to perform right away just because they feel comfortable. And so I give a lot of credit to the veteran leaders here and the coaching staff as well.
All right, Gavin, I got to put you on the spot now.
Okay.
What part of your dad's game would you like to have?
He had unbelievable power. And so I think that, I don't think I fully tapped into my power yet, but if I could to hit 31 home runs in a season, I don't care when it is that's pretty special. So if I could, tap into the same amount of power he had, I think we'd be in a good spot.
You guys have an interesting history. And what I mean by that is, so Larry, you were drafted by the Orioles in the second round.
Yes.
Gavin, you get drafted by the White Sox in the second round. And I'm just wondering, on that day, I mean, it's a special day for all of you, but was there some kind of, we got drafted in the same round. This is very special. Was there some of that? Did you recognize that? Did you celebrate that? Was there anything to it?
It was it was a weird day because I was playing in the Super Regional at the time. So I really didn't know what was going on. So between my agent and my dad, they were making the calls. So, you know, I don't know if he made it work out. So I was in the second round with him. I don't know the inside details, but no, that was just obviously an unbelievable day and special for all of us. And, you know, for him to be the one that was kind of making the decisions at the time. And he was really more a part of that process than I was because I was playing against Florida at the time. So I think it was a big celebration at the end and, you know, also a big relief. It was an unbelievable moment, but, you know, there's so much that goes into the draft and, you know, the build up and the lead up and, you know, where am I going? I'm hearing this spot, which team. So it was just a great day at the end of it.
You want to add anything there, Larry?
Well, believe me, I let him know all the time that I was the 29th pick in the draft because there was only 26 teams. I let him know that I was drafted ahead of Cal Ripken Jr. And you know, Cal was okay. It worked out for him. And then he's quick to say, you got $22,500 and I got $2 million. So those those are just part of our conversations that we frequently, I got a $7,500 bonus because I made it to AAA and to the big leagues. So there you go.
Okay, more of my conversation with Gavin Sheets and Larry Sheets. We're back in a moment.
Stories of personal courage you won't hear anywhere else.
When you have cancer, you're like, I don't care if I'm ever going to be the same.
My new favorite Olympian. New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know that 80% of the grass-fed beef sold in the U.S. is imported from overseas? That's why I get my meat from GoodRanchers.com. When you buy Good Ranchers, not only are you getting amazing meat, but you're also supporting American farms. GoodRanchers.com safely delivers American craft beef, better than organic chicken, and more. Delivered quickly and safely to your door. Don't play the grocery store guessing game. Know where your meat comes from with GoodRanchers.com. Go to GoodRanchers.com and use the code Chicago for $20 off and free express shipping. I'm glad you brought up Cal because I couldn't help but notice that you were taking 19 picks ahead of Cal Ripken Jr. You guys were teammates. So what do you want to say?
Well, I was better than him at the time. He just really got good, and I just sort of stayed the same. So, no, we've known it, and you know, I have to, you know, give him some kudos too because, you know, he's taken Gavin under his wing, and you know, they worked together a little bit in, you know, last summer, and him and Ryan and Cal would go out or. We'd all four go out and, you know, being around people like him and knowledge like him makes it easier to be around people like Abreu and those kind of guys, because you know how they act, you know, sort of what they think. And so that's been a good, you know, a good situation for him.
Gavin, what did Cal Ripken teach you?
He's been incredible. Just, you know, first and foremost, how to handle himself as a professional. You know, the way he handles himself day in and day out with, you know, the amount of attention he gets is incredible. But just his baseball knowledge, you know, being able to hit with him and play defense, you know, field with him and work with him defensively was phenomenal. You know, just the small things in the game that we talked about earlier, just the little things, you know, where to set up defensively, you know, based on the counts, based on the pitches, how to read swings. And, you know, that's what made him such a great player is he did the little things better than anybody else. You know, obviously his talent spoke for itself, but his preparation and just how he handled himself in the game. And that's what made him a Hall of Famer. And so just to be around him and pick his brain, and, you know, he was one of the first people to reach out to me when I got called up, you know, both times. So he's been incredible this whole journey, and to have him in my corner is pretty special.
So how did this come about? This past off season, you guys got together. So what transpired? Why did it happen? And what occurred?
So Ryan and I, his son, have been best friends since, you know, we were little. He's two or 3 years older than me. We went to the same school. We actually Cal was the assistant coach in high school with my dad. So to have that coaching staff was was pretty special. We had a lot of fun with that. But it was really cool for Ryan and I to have that, for our fathers to be roommates all the way up and play together and be best friends. And then Ryan and I obviously have a tremendous relationship. And it was pretty special this year. We got to play against each other for the first time ever when he was in Norfolk. So it's been a long time relationship. And, for them to pull me inside and, we hit a bunch together in the off season and, try to take advantage of a crazy year with COVID and, not try to lose a step. And so to be able to use that year to get better in multiple ways was what I needed.
Yeah. So this was because I looked at you and you were one of those cases that you slipped through the cracks, so to speak, where there was no space for you on the alternate site. There's no minor league system. Or minor league season. Right. So was that why you took this upon yourself with Cal Ripken Jr. to get some kind of training and he become kind of like a quasi coach for you?
Yeah. Between him and my dad hitting, that they were my two main people. But the biggest thing for me was kind of the training aspect, was just outside of those two. I did, a ton of training to be able to play the outfield. When you look at the roster and you see Jose Abreu at first base, that's penciled in every night in 3 or 4 hole. So, it's how can I help this team by getting my left-handed bat in the lineup? And with talks with Getz and Han and my agent, obviously outfield was a spot. Outfield, I knew I could play there. I knew that, obviously I needed to make adjustments to my build and to my game to get out there. But that was where I knew that I had an ability to play. And so, just changed the way I trained. Took that time to really train hard, lose some weight, make it so I could play out there and have the White Sox feel comfortable with me out there. And so, obviously the hitting aspect with my dad and Cal was big, but, I think the training aspect was the most important.
Yeah. Larry, I wonder if you could speak to this. It's you and Cal, and you're overseeing someone you care about so much to try to get him to the next level. How did it come about? How did it work with you and Cal working with your son?
Well, it went back to the first year I took the job at Gilman, and I called Cal and I said, look, I go, your son's here. I said, they've asked me to take this job, but I'm not going to take it unless you're the assistant coach. And he goes, I'm on board. And, so we coached together for 3 years, and then 2 years with Gavin and Ryan on the same team. And, I think too that, in hitting, he's got a pretty tough eye and believe me, if he said something to Gavin, I was on board with it. And, we didn't question each other. And again, it was a good fit, and he's just, he's easy to work with and very, very encouraging. I think that's a good word to describe the way he coaches or works with somebody.
You mentioned, or we're talking about Cal, and players today rarely play a full season anymore, let alone 2,632 games in a row.
Right.
Larry, how did Cal do it? How did he stay healthy, stay on the field, and play game after game after game for so many years?
That will and a God-given body that healed quickly. The thing I tell people is, I played a short career, right? I had part of 8 years, and I started thinking about it, and I thought, people don't think about this part of it. I missed 3 games because of food poisoning, eating at all these different restaurants and eating in all these different cities, and times where I couldn't even get out of bed. I was so sick. And people go through that stuff all the time. And for him to avoid just simple things like life stuff like that. And it wasn't back in the day that, they went into second base pretty hard. They didn't have the rules that they have today. And he was a diver at home plate, and, he would get drilled, hit. I don't know whatever word you want to say, but just the ability to be able to heal quickly, it's God-given.
Gavin, what was it like your second Major League Baseball game? You hit a home run off of Matt Shoemaker. What was the feeling when you made contact, you're running around the bases, and it happened?
It's hard to describe. Early in that game against Over, I think my second at bat, I just missed one to right center. And I was saying, I said, man, that would have been pretty cool if that went out. And then had a really good at bat against Shoemaker. I started to see him really well. I was pulling things just foul his splitter, and luckily left one over the plate. And, I remember saying the first time I was here, when those lights would go off on the home runs, I said, that's got to be one of the coolest feelings in the world. And sure enough, when I was hitting second and the lights went off, it was awesome. It's hard to explain. Such a special moment, but the coolest thing, and I think I said it in the interview before the game the other day, is just the excitement that the guys had in the dugout was pretty cool for me. Just to see how excited they were, and to see Tony on the front step when I first got there with a big smile on his face. That was probably the coolest part, was just seeing how they rallied around me, and the excitement that all those guys had. So just the whole experience from the lights going on in and out, and, the pinwheels in center field going off, and then the excitement in the dugout, that was a special moment.
So Larry, for you, former Major League Baseball player, coach of Gavin once upon a time, father, what were you thinking?
The emotions were off the charts, right? I know I got tears in my eyes. I know if there were people outside, they would have heard me. But, it's accomplishing, it's just watching years of work and being able to accomplish, these goals. And for me, I to look at it and go, oh my goodness, he's not chasing his first hit anymore, and he's not chasing his first home run. That's makes it 100% easier to settle into the big leagues. When you're chasing those two things, one, you can't have one without the other, but when you get your first hit and then you hit your first home run, it just says, okay, I'm here now. And now I can just relax and play. That's just sort of the emotions that we're going through my mind, and, pretty proud of them.
How comfortable are you feeling in the outfield now? Because you came up as a first baseman, and all of a sudden in the last, I would say, year you've been learning to play the outfield?
Yeah, so this is the first year doing it. I feel comfortable. I think I found right field to be more comfortable, just because I've always been on the right side of the infield, so I can read the swings a little bit better. I just feel comfortable on that side of the field. I know where the wall is from first base, finding the wall on the right field line, and but I feel good. I think I played about 20 games there in AAA, and then since I've been here, Debo and I have been in the outfield every day before the games, getting in a lot of work and a lot of reads. And Adam Eaton's been phenomenal with me out there. Whenever I go out there, he comes out there with me and kind of coaches me along with it, which has been awesome because, he's a great baseball mind as well. And obviously the more I play out there, the more comfortable and the better I get. But to go out there now, I feel completely comfortable.
I'm always interested, somewhat fascinated in players being able to DH. You just see it on a box score. Oh, someone's DHing. Okay, he's only batting 4 times. How tough is it? Okay, Larry, how tough is DHing? You did it 342 games in your career.
Yeah, that's 342 too many. But I found it, back in the dark days when black and white videos and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we didn't have, and I haven't even had this conversation with him, but we didn't have a batting cage by our dugouts. I mean, by our locker rooms, and you were on your own. I mean, we put a sock on a tee and was hitting the ball, off the tee. But you've got to be creative. You've got to figure out what works for you. I had a Galaga machine or Galaxy machine in the locker room, and I'd go in and play that.
The arcade game. You were playing the arcade game.
Yes, just to get my mind off. Of, because the bottom line is when you're hitting well, it's never your turn to bat. But when you're hitting poorly, you're batting every inning. And those are just all, and if I go 0 for 4, not that I was going to make a great play in the outfield, but, if I even like caught a fly ball, then I attribute it to the team winning from a defensive perspective. And, but I find it to be the hardest job in baseball, or I found it to be.
How has it been for you? Because I've noticed that like Gavin Sheets comes up DH. They were doing that with Yermin as well. I mean, it worked great for Yermin for that first month for sure. So how has it been like for you adjusting to it at the major league level?
It's nice. I haven't done it a lot in coming up, but it's definitely easier here with in terms of the video that we have, having the cages right next to the dugout.
Is there a Galaga arcade game?
There's no Galaga.
Okay.
Might need to get one of those installed. But
no, I don't do
all the stuff
to get in trouble.
Having the facilities that we have nowadays, it's not bad. I don't, I try not to think about the position too much. I just enjoy being in the lineup, to be honest. Whatever they want to pencil me in at any spot in the lineup at any position. I try not to think about it too much, but definitely having, Howie Clark in the cage waiting for me to do flips or machine or whatever I need, and going over the video of the guy that I'm about to face. I think just the technology we have nowadays makes it, it's a pretty comfortable position now in terms of the way you can prepare for each at bat.
Tony said something interesting the other day. He said, whoever plays the best plays the most.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel for you as a rookie coming in and the manager saying, hey, you play good, you're in the lineup?
It's great. Played every day since I've been here, and I got to even get the start against the lefty. And, it just shows the faith that he has in me. And that's all you can ask for as a player. Just to get an opportunity, and then 2, to just have someone in your corner and just run you out there every day. And that's all I can ask for. At the end of the day, I'm going to go out there and give it my best shot every game. And for Tony to continue to run me out there, it's great.
Okay. Well, hey, this has been great talking with you guys. Larry, is there something that just stands out for you watching your son that you want to share?
Again, it's just, I'm proud of him. I'm looking for, it's going to be a crazy weekend. This weekend.
I forgot to ask you about that. So hold on a second. Let me set it up this way. Okay. I'm glad you brought this up. I mean, it's so obvious.
I have it written down. To do your job.
I know I got to do my job. Okay. I should probably started the whole conversation with this. So Larry Sheets you've been 6 years with the Orioles. You were drafted by the Orioles.
Correct.
White Sox going to Baltimore this weekend for a 3-game series. I want to get Gavin your thoughts in a moment, but let's start with you, Larry. As you were starting to explain it, what is this going to be like?
It's we're just hoping he's there, right? But I don't know that I can explain it. I mean, the amount of people from the golf club that he and I belong to the school, the Orioles attendance could go from 10,000 to 12,000 this weekend and see a significant increase. And I'm not, there's going to be a ton of support for Gavin this weekend, and just looking forward to experiencing it.
How about you, Gavin? What's it going to mean for you? I mean, you grew up, I'm assuming, an Orioles fan. It was your local team, and now you're going back there to play against them.
It's, man, to say in the off season to look at the schedule and to not say that I didn't have that one penciled in to try to get there is, man, we talked about it all season, just how cool would it be to go to Baltimore and play there? How cool would it be to be in the big leagues and be able to make that series? And, to have the chance to get to play there. And man, just kind of what he was saying, just the amount of people that have, texted me and said, we'll be there to support you. We'll be there in the stands. And it's incredible. I can't wait for it. It'll be like the second debut almost, to have all the people there that'll be supporting me and excited. But no, I mean, it just goes back to where I fell in love with baseball. Going to Camden Yards, at 2 years old, 3 years old with my dad, and, you know, being on that field and just being an Orioles fan growing up. You know, it'll come full circle to be on the away team playing there. So I can't even wait.
Larry, is Cal going to be there?
He may. I'm in his seat, so that's a good thing. So
those are good seats, I bet.
they're you can touch the catcher almost.
Well, hey, I hope it's a weekend to remember for both of you. It's already been a couple of weeks to remember for a lifetime for you, and I hope great days, great games, and a great career is ahead for you, Gavin. And I look forward to seeing you in person in the near future.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having us. This was awesome.
All right, the White Sox and Orioles are playing 3 games at Camden Yards, Friday through Sunday, and that is going to be really special for Gavin, Larry, and their whole family. And although he's only been in the majors for a little over a week, Gavin is showing he belongs. He's reached base in each of his first 9 games, and he's the first player in White Sox history to record a hit and an RBI in each of his first 4 major league games. He has been fun to watch. My thanks to Gavin Sheets and Larry Sheets for coming on the podcast, and my thanks to all of you for listening to the White Sox Talk podcast, brought to you by Wintrust, your home for White Sox checking with free ATMs nationwide. Go to their special White Sox webpage, www.wintrust.com/Sox. Hawk Harrelson, take it away.
Thanks, Art Chuck. And this edition of the White Sox Talk podcast is over.